Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest channel and podcast. And not my typical format. This is usually audio style on this channel. So for those of you who are here for the first time, please do go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And for those of you who are here, just go ahead and hit the like button while we're at it. It's like wiping your feet before you come into someone's house or taking your shoes off before you walk indoors. It's just the courteous thing to do if you're here, and I appreciate you being here. Not going to be before you very long, and forgive me, I'm in my robe, and I just got through taking a shower and doing my hair, so it's still a little damp. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about was the Michelle Loud interview with Tasha K that I just finished listening to on the app. I am subscribed to her app. And it was an amazing interview. I have been waiting for it. I've been following this Cora Jakes story about the alleged coercion and manipulation to take someone else's child that this woman did not willfully want to give her child up. I plan on doing more commentary about it. I actually have a list of things that I just haven't had the opportunity to record yet, because I usually do this in a different format and I've been really busy. But just getting to the interview, if you have not subscribed to the app, I believe it'll probably be on her YouTube channel in about a week. But as I record this is Sunday, June I think it's the 25th. If it's not, it's the 24th. I'm sorry, the days have just been flying by. But it was a great interview, and there's just so much that she shared. It was an over 2-hour interview. The woman looked extremely polished. As much as some people may want to judge Michelle off of the live video that went viral because of how she looked, how she sounded, based on the profanity that was used and the screaming and the yelling and some things that she shared about her personal life, you cannot judge her on those things because, well, look, you can judge people all you want, but you can't condemn people based off what you see when you really don't know the whole story. And based on the things that she shared in that live, based on a number of things that I have been seeing, there's a guy I follow, his YouTube channel, and actually YouTube suggested it to me. It was in the algorithm, Technique Reviews. I will put a link to his channel in the description box as well. When I saw his video first in my feed, I want to say it was maybe about 3 weeks ago, and I've been hooked ever since because he has a lot of in-depth, detailed information, and a lot of things that he has been saying, it confirmed the thoughts that I started feeling in my spirit as I listened to Michelle Loud's video over and over again. So the interview, okay, Tasha K conducted it extremely well. Hats off to her. She did a really great job interviewing Michelle, and Michelle conducted herself extremely professional, extremely mature. She did not mince words. She did not have to stutter or really sit and think about things. This woman knew Cora when she was a young girl. And so there's a lot of things that she has seen and experienced being around Cora and going to the mansions with the properties on so many occasions, and so many things that she shared. It just made me think, like, no wonder this happened. No wonder that happened. Look, I'm not judging Sarah. Sarah is not involved in the situation, but she is Cora Jakes' sister. And as we know, or maybe you don't know, Sarah Jakes got pregnant when she was 13 years old. Apparently, they also had went on the Dr. Phil show, and Sarah shared some things about how she felt neglected by her father and things like that. Again, I'm not judging Sarah. Sometimes children do get into physical situations and then you wind up getting pregnant and you were a whole lot younger than you should have been. I've been there. I wasn't as young as Sarah was, but I've been there. But I wouldn't say that it was for a lack of supervision. It was more so because I was not, I don't even want to say sneaking around, but I guess that's really what it was. But what Michelle shared, she said that Cora and Sarah, they pretty much lived in their own house. Yeah, it was on the property, but they had their own house. She said TD Jakes and Sarita Jakes lived in the big mansion, the big house, and the kids lived in the slave quarters. I'm just kidding. It was far from slave quarters, but when you think of like a plantation, and then you got like Master and his family, or Massa and his family living in the big house, and then the slaves lived on the slave quarters on the plantation. When she was speaking about it, that's what it kind of reminded me of. I'm like, why wouldn't they live in the same house, mansion? Maybe you don't call it a house, but why wouldn't they live in the same building as their parents, as children? I could see if they were adults and it's like, well, they're not married yet, they're not on their own, let's let them live in a separate house on the property versus living in the same house or same building. And the more I listen to this story and hear more about the Jakes, it really makes me feel like that show Greenleaf was based off of, loosely, but based off of the Jakes. Now, we know that there's a lot of corruption in the church, a lot of corruption. And I hate to say it like that because it is the people. And the Bible says that we, the people who are believers, are really supposed to be the church. And the building is just a place that people would come to congregate for the sake of worship and prayer and praise and meeting together and assembling together. But a lot of things that have been going on in the churches, the people have just been so corrupted that just so many wicked and evil things go on. And so if you've watched the show Greenleaf, the series that used to come on the OWN network, we know that Oprah Winfrey and TD Jakes are friends. I'm just saying, and I'm not saying that Oprah wrote the show because I don't believe she wrote it, but she was involved in the show and she even starred in the show for a period of time. What was this based off of? Because it makes me feel so much so like Sarah is like Grace Greenleaf and Cora Jakes is almost like Charity Greenleaf. Like I see the similarities. Like, again, like I said, it may not be identical and it may be loosely based on it, but I do believe that a lot of the things that were in that show Greenleaf are based off of the Jakes family. That's just my opinion. But Michelle Loud, she revealed so much in this interview, and I'm not going to go down the list of everything that she revealed because I'm not trying to give a reaction to the interview, just trying to share some of the things, and then I'm going to do my own content just talking about some things that I have heard and seen and questioned about this situation. But she revealed that Cora was supposed to be like a friend. She manipulated her. She was going through postpartum depression. She said she was actually in the hospital room when she gave birth to her son, her fourth born. That's what she calls him, Jason, which is the one that she has accused Cora Jakes of manipulating for the sake of taking. She said she lied about a form that she signed. She thought that the form that she was signing was just giving them permission to her, meaning them, is she's saying Cora Jakes and her then husband, who she's since divorced, and I'm going to be doing separate content about that, Brandon, giving them permission to fly with her son because at the time they did not have the legal, I guess, right to do that. And she said that she manipulated her, had the paperwork changed and edited, and what she wound up doing unknowingly, because she didn't have legal counsel, she didn't even read the document because she just thought that what Cora was telling her was what it was this is just to give us permission to fly with Jason. But it wound up being guardianship papers where she was assigning Cora Jakes and her then husband as guardians over her child. And you sit and you wonder, at the time she had 3 other children. So if she was such an unfit mother, why would she just take one and allow her, and not even that it was her authority to allow her, so, to speak, to have custody of her other children. But if she really cared about the children and cared about this woman, why, and she felt like she was a danger to the children at, whatever she was trying to claim. If you really care about children, why would you have the other children left in her care but not the little boy? I feel, based on the things that she shared in this interview, especially when she shared that Cora was in the hospital room with her when she had the baby. She said the baby would go from her back to Cora. Cora was really coddling the little baby. I feel that Cora got attached to that baby from the moment she held that baby in that hospital room. That is my opinion. I could be wrong, but I feel that is what happened. And I feel that she was dead set on making this a reality, that this little boy is no longer yours, it is mine. So just like she shared on her live video, she talked about it in the interview with TashaK about how this prophet by the name of Gaylina, she flew her in, and she said they were just like over her, praying over her. She was lying down there or whatever, wherever she was. And she said Gaylina was speaking in tongues, and then she was saying how she saw in a vision that Brandon, who is now Cora's ex-husband, was sitting on a throne, and the baby boy Jason was sitting on his lap. And like, okay, if you had a vision of that, who cares? Does that mean that the baby that I gave birth to is now theirs because you say you saw this vision? That's what you say. And that's the thing about these people in these positions. They can persuade and manipulate, and they can say that God said this or God showed me that or whatever. And look, it very well may be that this person has visions and dreams and God speaks to them or whatever, but how does that other person have proof that that's what it is? We're just supposed to believe you just because you say that? And I'm sorry, the fact that she says that she gave birth to this baby, but it wasn't for her, it was for them. Who says? Okay, and then she had another baby after that. Not immediately, but she had another baby after that. So what about the other baby that came after that? You don't give a crap about that one? It was just so much that was shared. I, again, don't want this to be a long podcast conversation, but I really just was so triggered when I get triggered every time I listen to this, and that's why I want to do several conversations talking about this, because it really is a holy mess. It really is. She talked about how TD Jake's wife, Sarita, they were getting ready to go to a prom, and she never really had any interactions with TD Jake's, Cora's father, up until they were about to go to prom, and he came to the house that they were staying in. I guess they were going to be taking not prom pictures, but pictures before they go to prom in front of the residence. And TD Jakes came, and his wife also came, and there were other friends there, and they were going to take pictures. And she said that TD Jakes was standing there, and she was like feeling in herself like, oh my God, this is like someone that I look up to. She grew up in the church. That's another thing that she said. And seeing how she was speaking, I believe it. I didn't technically grow up in church, but as a little girl, I, went to church all the time. And then when I got to around, the middle of middle school years, I wasn't as regular going to church. So I understand those things. And she was not in awe or worshipful of TD Jakes, but she just really felt like this is someone that's impacted my life, impacted my mom's life, and I'm about to be able to take a picture with him. Like, this is so cool. And she said she wasn't doing anything crazy. She just, I don't know how she did it, but she said she just kind of leaned in to take the picture, which is what a lot of people do when you're taking like a group picture. And she said that TD Jake's wife came for her. She told her to get away from her husband like that, called her a Jezebel, and she was a teenager. And when I heard that, I said, wow, it really sounds like this woman has some really deep insecurities. And I know y'all have money, but TD Jakes, I'm sorry, he looks like a walrus in my opinion. And I know there's some people who feel that he may be attractive, but the man has all this money. And you can say what you want to say, and you can say whatever you want to say about me even saying this. But you got all this money, and I can't stand seeing men, especially men with money, with big bellies. So no matter how much you pay for these suits, you got this huge belly. I'm sorry. I'm getting off a little bit on a tangent, but that's just one of my pet peeves. I can't stand seeing men with big bellies. I hate it, especially men with money. It's like, you should be able to do something about that, all right? Eat healthier, work out, get in the gym, and if you want to have a little bit of liposuction or something too, shoot, Kanye West did it. As crazy as he is, he was like, I'm not walking around here with no big belly. But anyway, that girl did not want her husband. And I believe every word that she said in that interview. Not just that, but every word she said in that interview. There's so much to be said about this situation, but I am happy to hear that she has legal counsel now, and she is fighting for her rights. She's fighting to get her child back. And this is not something that just happened when she did the video and she learned that Cora's now ex-husband was arrested for possibly, allegedly doing some things with one of the children, which they're alleging it's the little girl, repeatedly. And I'm not going to use the word here. So you know what we're talking about. And that triggered her to do that video because she was like, I'm tired of being quiet. I'm tired of being shut up. I'm tired of being scared. I'm tired. And you get to the point where you're just so fed up and you're so tired, it doesn't matter what the other side has to say or what they will try to do. You're going to speak your truth, because she felt like as a mother, she was trying to protect her child. Because she said, now I have to wonder, like, did he touch my baby? Did he touch my baby? Like, that's what she said in that video. And even though she goes on highs of being really loud and boisterous and yelling to lows of crying and, and sobbing heavily, that's how you are when you are in your emotions. And she is a mother. She is a real mother. And going through postpartum depression is really real. I've only had one child in my lifetime, and there's a reason for that. I went through it too. I was young as well. I didn't know I was going through that. Later in life, when I learned that's what it was, it made sense to me of how I felt back then. I didn't go through it for a long period of time, at least I don't think I did. But I can think of one situation where I felt a little bit detached from my son. And I think he was just in his cradle. I had a cradle for him where it like swung back and forth. And he just wouldn't stop crying. And usually as a mother, when your baby is crying, you're going to either try to soothe them, calm them down. Maybe you think the diaper is wet and it needs to be changed, or they're hungry or something. You're going to try to fix it. And I can think back on that moment now. Again, it just happened one time to my knowledge, but I just let him sit in the cradle and cry. And I was living with my mom at the time, and she came in the room and she was like, you can't let him cry like that or whatever. And I just really didn't care. I didn't know, and she didn't know either. That's what I was experiencing, because I just really felt attached at the moment. It's like, I can't deal with this man. I'm tired. This baby crying is getting on my nerves. I don't even know if I really want to live right now. Like, those are the thoughts. Ooh, I'm trying not to cry. Because when I heard her sharing her story, I was like, how could these people be so evil? All of the money that they have. There are so many children out here that need homes, babies even, newborns. Why would you want someone else's baby? But I feel that because she got attached to this woman's baby being there in the hospital room with her, it's almost like those women. You've heard the stories before of women who have they have taken the baby out of a mother's womb. Like, they have taken the life of that person, cut the baby out of the womb, and taken the baby, and they took the baby as if it was their own. Or, they couldn't have kids, and they dressed up like a nurse and went into a hospital, got by and got away with taking a baby out of the nursery and raising that baby for all of these years until the child becomes an adult, and then something transpires where the child learns that that was not their biological mother. And it's rare in those situations that those women are with men, that they're either married or they're, with an actual boyfriend or in a relationship. Usually when you hear about those stories, those women are single. I'm not saying there's a link to that. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, with Cora being allegedly sterile, and from what Michelle says, she had some, pregnancy terminations, I'll just put the words like that, at least one that she knows of, and she believes that that is what caused her to become infertile. She doesn't know for sure, of course, because she's not a medical doctor. But when someone really wants to become a mother and they cannot, and they don't know why, a lot of times it can cause some mental instabilities within them, and then something could happen and trigger where they just take someone else's child as their own, and they really start believing that that is their child. Like, there's a story, the woman who got arrested finally, I think the young woman's name was Kamaya Mobley. I can't remember if that was her given name by her birth parents or by the woman who stole her, but she grew up with the offender. She grew up with the woman that kidnapped her and raised her. And even though her biological parents came into her life, she rejected them. And she just wants her, what she calls her real mom, to be released. Now, that's not going to happen. She was convicted and sentenced, and she tried to plead with the court to release her. And they're like, nah, she ain't getting out of here. But this young woman still sees this woman as her mom. And that woman who stole her, to this day, still believes that is her baby. And she did not give birth to that woman. To that young woman, she stole someone else's baby from the hospital. And she really believes it. I know there's a word for it or a phrase for it, some psychological term, where people really start believing their own lies. And I believe in the situation with Cora Jakes, in my opinion, I believe she really started to believe her own lies. That this baby was not Michelle's. She gave birth to this baby for me. I really believe that. And who knows the conversation that she had with the so-called prophet. She may have said, I know I had a vision and a dream that God showed me that was my baby, and that Michelle didn't have that baby for her. She has other babies, but I believe that this baby was born for her to give to us to raise, me and my husband. And so I do believe that Cora felt that really was her baby. I'm not saying I agree with her. I believe she's badass crazy for that, but I am saying I believe that she believes that. I do believe she really believes that is her baby. But she went through some evil, manipulative ways and tactics, and utilizing the power of the name Jakes and the money that they have and the people that they're connected with and all of those things to win in this situation. But I don't believe that this is the end. I am really praying, and I'm going to continue to follow this story because, one, as a woman and as a mother, I haven't had a little child in a long time. My son is an adult, okay? I do believe that, like my mom always says, you may get by, but you don't get away. And I know for some people, they don't believe that because we see a lot of evil go on in this world and a lot of evil and corrupt people where it just seems like nothing ever happens to them. But I do believe that at some point, even if it hits their children or their children's children, you will be affected. And so she said that the Jakes, they are celebrating, I don't know, maybe their 50-year wedding anniversary. I can't remember which year. Maybe 40. I can't remember. I don't know if they're that old to have a 50-year wedding anniversary. But she said, yeah, they're on, Instagram twirling around, but they have their comments turned off because nobody can comment on it. And that to me was like, wow, why do you have your comments turned off? Like, and I'm not saying that TD Jakes was wholly in on it, but they definitely, he and his wife, you definitely have been a part of it by, I don't even know I'm honestly kind of lost for words, but because of the sense of entitlement based on who they are, she can get away, she can get by with a lot of things. And I believe it would be stand up of he and his wife if they were to say, you know what, this really is not worth it. This really isn't worth it. Let's reverse what we did and give this woman her baby back. Like, why do you all want to go to the depths to prove that you're right, or to prove that you're entitled to have someone else's child? Why? And I just don't get that about people with power and money, where you just feel like you are entitled to it all. It's sickening. It is. Anyway, if you haven't watched the interview yet, if you're not subscribed to Tasha K's app, I suggest you do it. Watch the video. I think she has a couple of different levels or tiers. So, watch it. Let me know your thoughts about this situation in the comment section. But for me, I'm just like, so many things that she said, it was kind of confirmed for me. And I'm going to continue to follow this story. And I'll be back with more content, not just about this, but a number of other things. I appreciate you all liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Again, I'll have the links in the description box to the other YouTube channel that I started watching recently because it was suggested to me. It's Tanique Reviews. And she also mentioned him at the end of the interview too. It was kind of funny to me because Tasha K was like, oh, I don't know who that is, but thank you. So anyway, guys, check it out. Let me know your thoughts, and I appreciate you liking and subscribing. Please let me know your thoughts about this whole situation, and until the next time, guys, I'm just being beautifully honest.